Most likely 3:20.
No, because like,
And the other one is at 6 p.m. It's the consulate. Fifth Avenue. Tú me dices si la cámara me sigue cuando yo haga salud acá, ¿ok? ¿Ok? Okay. So this is the final call, and we are beginning. We are going to begin this second day of the Americas Poetry Festival. Ya vamos a comenzar el segundo día del Festival de Poesía de las Américas. As I said yesterday, I will be switching back between Spanish and broken English. So be patient with me. To introduce myself one more time, I'm Professor Carlos Aguasaco. I am the current chair of the Department of Interdisciplinary Studies at the Center for Worker Educational Division of the City College of New York. Déjeme presentarme una vez más, yo soy el profesor Carlos Aguasaco, director del Departamento de Estudios Interdisciplinarios en el City College de la Ciudad de Nueva York, en esta división Off Campus, que es la división para la educación del trabajador. As I said yesterday, City College of New York is the oldest urban university of the United States. We have 10 Nobel Prizes, including 5 or 6 years ago. Como dije ayer, el City College es la universidad pública más antigua de los Estados Unidos. Tenemos 10 premios Nobel, de ellos hace como 5 o 6 años. But we also have had a great alumni. I'm not asking you, but I'm telling you that Oscar Iguelos, the Pulitzer Prize winner, was an alumni of City College. He actually attended your program. ¿Sí? El ganador del premio Pulitzer, Oscar Iguelos, asistió a City College, por ejemplo, y el mismo programa que está estudiando Sonia. And too many people to mention, really. Hay demasiadas personas para mencionar. Let us say that the City College of New York has a main campus located uptown in 135th Street and Amsterdam Avenue. Déjenos decir que nosotros tenemos un campus neogótico en el norte de la ciudad, en la 135 y Amsterdam, la avenida Amsterdam. But this division of campus is located here for a purpose. We have the mission of educating the working class in New York City. Esta división fuera del campus está ubicada aquí por una razón. Nosotros tenemos la misión de educar a las personas que trabajan en Nueva York. And who can afford attending school in New York without working? Every single person is a worker in New York. This city is so expensive, right? ¿Quién puede vivir sin ir a la universidad y sin trabajar? Esta es una ciudad tan costosa. ¿Sí? Así que tenemos esta visión. This division of campus is a state-of-the-art facility. This is the best kept secret in CUNY. Este lugar tiene toda la tecnología de última generación, micrófonos inalámbricos, cámaras que nos siguen, pantallas en todos los salones, podiums inteligentes. We have everything. We don't believe here. We believe that nothing is too good for the working class. One of the founders of this place said so. Nothing is too good for the working class. Nada es demasiado bueno para las personas que trabajan. There is not a single benefit that is too much for someone who's willing to work for a living. No hay un solo beneficio que sea demasiado para las personas que trabajan. And that's why we try to provide a first-class education here to our students. Our students attend during the evenings, online, hybrid, via Zoom, in person, Saturdays, weekends. Por eso tratamos de proveer la mejor educación para nuestros estudiantes. Les damos clases en las noches, en las tardes, los fines de semana, en línea, a distancia. And what do we mean by interdisciplinary studies? ¿Qué queremos decir con estudios interdisciplinarios? We mean the mixture between humanities and social sciences. Entendemos que lo interdisciplinario es la mezcla entre las humanidades y las ciencias sociales. My brother, you're asking me, but my brother, who's the designer for the America's Poetry Festival of New York, told me once, Carlos, to be an artist, to be a designer, I need to understand what my client wants, I need to be a psychologist. I need to know psychology, some psychology to understand what the client needs. To do the actual work as a designer, I need to be trained as an artist and as a graphic designer as well. And to get paid, I need to be a lawyer. For reality is interdisciplinary by nature. There is not a single challenge that you face in a given day that can be resolved from a purely disciplinary perspective. Que la realidad es interdisciplinaria, como dice mi hermano, mira, para entenderlo como artista, diseñador del festival, mi hermano me dice, Carlos, mira, para entender lo que mi cliente quiere, necesito ser un psicólogo. Para hacer el trabajo tengo que ser artista, diseñador, y para que me paguen tengo que ser abogado. Porque la realidad es por naturaleza interdisciplinaria. We believe that reality is by nature interdisciplinary. And therefore, we have professors here of history, anthropology, sociology, law, psychology, education, political science, developmental psychology, African American studies, English, what else? So many. And we have someone who does Latin American studies, and so on. Tenemos profesores de muchas áreas, historia, sociología, antropología, estudios afroamericanos, estudios culturales, historia de derecho, tenemos abogados. It's impossible for me to list. We're actually looking for someone to do public health. Estamos buscando a alguien que haga salud pública. And the requirement for a class here is that it has to mix more than one discipline. El requerimiento aquí es que se mezcle más de una disciplina. So that's it. That's the publicity. Okay. If by any chance you know anyone, any person that is yet to finish their college degree, send them to me. You have my contact information. I will give them a first-class attention. I will make sure they talk to an advisor. Okay. And I will make sure they go across the line. Ustedes, si conocen a alguien que no ha terminado su carrera universitaria, mándenlo. Yo me aseguraré de que hablen con un consejero académico y que les den una buena atención. Let me finish with a story, this introduction. Many times when I ride the subway, the train conductor who's switching from one car to the other stops and says, "Professor, what are you doing here?" En muchas ocasiones, cuando estoy en el metro, entre una calle y entre un vagón y el otro, va pasando el conductor y me dice, "Profesor, ¿qué estás haciendo acá?" Many of our students are union members. Muchos son trabajadores de sindicatos. 74% of our students are single parents. 74% de nuestros estudiantes son padres solteros o madres solteras. 80% of our students are women. 85% of our students are people of color. 80% de nuestros estudiantes son mujeres. El 85% son personas de color. This is a dream-making machine. The City College of New York, and you should know this, propels more people from the working class to the middle class than all the Ivy League universities together. This institution is #1 in the country, in the United States, and most likely then in the world in social mobility. Esta institución es la #1 en el país. Llevamos más personas de la clase trabajadora a la clase media que todas las universidades de la Liga Ivy League juntas. Somos la #1 en el país, en movilidad social y probablemente en el mundo. So this is a very inspiring place and it has a lot of meaning. Okay? To mention someone, one of the founders of this place is Professor Marshall Berman. Marshall Berman fue profesor acá, por ejemplo. Todos los sólidos se desvanecen en el aire, sino acá. Cornel West was a professor here. Professor Cornel West. Oh, the story. So one day, a train conductor is switching cars, and he sees some people reading a book. And he sees these people, so into the reading with such passion that he says, "What are you doing?" And they say, "We are attending the City College Center for Work Education." And he said, "You know what? I want to do that. Give them the information." That person came to City College, to this place, became a full-time student, a valedictorian for the City College of New York. He went to get a PhD in Columbia University and eventually became a full professor and a dean. A train conductor. La historia que les quería contar es que pasando de un vagón al otro, el conductor del tren ve a unas personas leyendo un libro, les pregunta qué están haciendo, porque les ve esa pasión, y ellos le dicen, vamos a la universidad, estudiamos en el Centro por la Educación del Trabajador de City College. Entonces yo quiero hacer eso, dice. Pide la información, viene a City College, viene a esta institución, termina su carrera, se va a la Universidad de Columbia, saca su doctorado, se convierte en profesor de tiempo completo y llega a ser decano. And I could spend the next 6 hours telling you stories of how many people have come across this place that were just this close to finish their college degree and only needed someone like me or yourselves to tell them that this place exists. Les puedo contar muchas historias. But we are not here for that. We are here to study or to discuss the relationship between poetry and technology. Vamos aquí a discutir en realidad la discusión entre poesía y tecnología. That's one of my research topics. Yeah, I do study the relationship between poetry and technology. People sometimes forget that language itself is a form of technology. A veces a las personas se les olvida que la lengua es una forma de tecnología. Sometimes people forget that writing itself is a form of technology. And that loud reading is a form of technology. A veces las personas olvidan que la escritura misma es una forma de tecnología y que la lectura en voz alta es otra forma de tecnología. So, when I organize this poetry festival, I always say for myself the round table. This is not for you, this is not for the public, this is for Carlos Salazar's research. I'm going to be posing some questions to the members of the panel, and then I will be stealing their ideas for my books. Esto yo no lo hago para nadie, no es para el público, no es para ustedes, es para mi investigación como académico interesado en la poesía contemporánea. Yo voy a estar haciendo preguntas interesantes al panel y después me voy a robar las ideas para mis libros.
Tenemos que firmar formas de consent.
No really small. I have no integrity whatsoever. Okay?
¿Cuál fue el RB, Carlos?
Honestly, I believe we need to have a conversation, a serious conversation, an open, non-biased conversation on the relationship between artificial intelligence and poetry, or poetry and artificial intelligence. Honestamente, pienso que tenemos que tener una conversación seria sobre la relación entre la inteligencia artificial y la poesía, o la poesía y la inteligencia artificial. Entonces, let us begin calling the panelists. So, this is the moment where you see the mic. Okay, one second. Go up. It was supposed to go up. Irene? Irene? Irene?
Hello?
¿Puedes decir a Félix que suba la pantalla? Sorry. Last year, there used to be a button there that I would push and it would go up. You see the problem with technology? El año pasado había un botón ahí que yo escuchaba y se subía mágicamente. ¿Sí ven el problema con la tecnología que tenemos ahora? Let's see. I'm asking the IT guy to come. Fine. In the meantime, let me introduce the person that will be sitting in this round table. I will be kindly ask them to come forward. We have Professor Amir Abdel Hafez from Egypt. Amir, say hello. Yeah. We have BCW from Korea. Over here. Have you seen her? Okay. We have C.E. Wallace. Okay, from Paraguay. We have Elizabeth Torres from Colombia, USA, and Denmark now. We have Gustavo Gac-Artigas from Chile. We have Jacqueline Loweree from Mexico. We have Jonas Elbousty. We have Jorge Berrios from Puerto Rico. We have Marcos de la Fuente from Spain. Oh, I should say Galicia. We also have Yuyutsu Sharma from Nepal and India. And as soon as we resolve this technical matter, we will begin. Okay? Acabo de presentar a las personas que están llegando, que se van a presentar. Tan pronto resolvamos el problema técnico, vamos a comenzar. This is I don't want anyone to have any preconception on my position regarding this. Okay? But the first question I will ask, okay, is I want you to confess. Have you ever used artificial intelligence? Have you ever used artificial intelligence to produce any kind of document? Didn't say poems or poetry. Have you ever used artificial intelligence to produce any kind of writing, any kind of, a letter, a memo? Have you? That's a good question. One second, get them over. Okay. Waiting. Irene. ¿No viene o no? Here. ¿Puedes subir la pantalla? ¿Puedes subir la pantalla? You see the problem with another form of technology? The button is still there, but somebody places a sign in English saying, please do not touch. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias, señor Piña. Thank you so much for being here. He's our IT guy. Okay, so Elizabeth, please come in, have a seat. Okay. Abir, please come in, have a seat. Okay. C.E. Wallace, please come in, have a seat. Gustavo, please have a seat. Jacqueline, have a seat. Jorge Berrios, have a seat. Marcos, have a seat. Yuyutsu, have a seat, please. Irene, ¿dónde está? Where is Irene? Allá. Okay.
Carlos.
Did we just start or what?
No.
No está. So we're also transmitting via Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitter Live. So everything you say, good, and most likely will be used against you in a court of law. Okay? Any controversial statements regarding the political situation might get you into one of those blacklists. Have you seen that? Some students in Harvard actually signed a paper, making a statement, and now their careers are at risk. Probably with technology, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but let's put the political situation aside and let's talk about poetry and technology. Vamos a poner la política de lado y vamos a. Didn't I call you?
I think I'm going to
Yeah, you are here, but I didn't see you here. So please have a seat. We're waiting for you. Sumia. Sumia Vida from the United States, a student at the City College of New York, who, as many students do, was skipping class. Fine. So let us go around quickly and confessing. Have you ever used artificial intelligence to produce any documents? Have you ever had this?
I just like, when people started to speak about artificial intelligence, and we are professors, I teach Spanish, I teach Arabic, so I just had to be in touch with the new technologies that my students are using, and not only students, people all over the world. So I did make an account, but it's not to produce things to use, but just to try how things are going and to be in the same environment of the student. This is the 21st century, and the tools for knowledge have changed drastically. It's if we're not using all these tools, we are behind the knowledge and we are behind the time. So this is just when you know something, this is not mean that you're going to use it professionally, but at least you have to know it. And any person is ignorant of it an aim for what he ignores. So it was just to figure out what's happening.
Okay, I'm going to translation in Spanish. Traducción en español. Ella usa la inteligencia artificial porque piensa que las personas deben conocerla. Así escoja no usarla y como es una herramienta que cualquier profesional hoy en día tiene que conocer. Elizabeth Torres.
I'm of the same opinion, so the answer is yes, I have. ¿Es la misma opinión? Sí, por supuesto.
She has, I know that what is
Yo voy a empezar en español.
¿Is there going to talk in Spanish?
La inteligencia artificial para hacerlo en inglés. No. Para escribir no la he usado. No enseño. Por lo tanto, no he estado en contacto con los alumnos. En cambio, en mi casa hay alguien que la ha utilizado por los alumnos, escribiendo para el cambio. Y es Priscila.
Okay, so he's saying that he hasn't used it because he doesn't teach, but there is someone at home, who's guilty of using this to try to create a better world with her students, and that's Professor Priscila Gac-Artigas, who's in the back.
Y si lo usé de alguna forma fue a pedido de un investigador, de un periodista de la Academia Norteamericana de la Lengua, que me envió 6 poemas escritos por diferentes sistemas de inteligencia artificial. Y me dijo, Gustavo, dime, ¿cuál es el mejor de los poemas desde el punto de vista de un escritor y un poeta?
Tú sabías que era.
So this is a good point.
Él me dijo con qué sistema habían utilizado cada uno. No tenía tiempo para contestarle. Coloqué los 6 poemas a trabajar con los 6 sistemas de inteligencia artificial entre ellos. Y comenzaron de una forma u otra a analizarse, uno con otro, uno con otro, uno con otro. Incluso hubo uno que tuvo la insolencia de decir, ese no es un buen poema. Y estaban solamente trabajando entre ellos.
Okay.
Y nada, no hay más.
This is someone from the Academy of the Academy of Spanish Language, la Academia. The Academy sent him a series of poems that were written by artificial intelligence bots, and they asked him to decide what was the best poem out of them for a writer. But Gustavo didn't want to do the work, so he actually used the same artificial intelligence to compare the poems between them, and they actually, the bots, the different machines, were actually making comments on each other, and one of them said about another poem, another machine, this is not a good poem, okay? Good, this is amazing. Okay, Gustavo, fíjate. The next one.
Hi, everybody. I was working with artificial intelligence for the last 2 years, Then my last collection of poems is about the relation with the artificial intelligence, with the art, and with the poetry. This is a collection of 10 poems that speak about these new worlds for the creators, what is the distance, cuál es la distancia, que es algo que me interesa mucho entre el poeta y la inteligencia artificial, o entre el poeta y la máquina, y tratar de reflexionar sobre cuestiones como si una máquina puede emocionarnos, ¿no? El otro día hablábamos sobre esto, sobre la inteligencia artificial y la poesía. Ahora es muy fácil que una inteligencia artificial, it's so easy that an artificial intelligence write poetry. I have an artificial intelligence in my WhatsApp. And last week I asked to her, because it's a woman, of course, because she's so smart, that write a poem in Galician language for me. Le pedí a la máquina, a esta inteligencia artificial que tengo en el WhatsApp, que escribiera un poema en gallego, ¿no? Y entonces se lo envié a mis colegas en Galicia, les dije, mira qué poema en gallego más bonito he escrito. Y todos me dijeron, oh sí, qué poema más bonito has escrito, ¿no? Entonces, bueno, creo que hay muchas cuestiones.
This is important in English. He actually used the machine to create a poem in Galician, because he's trying to research whether artificial intelligence can create emotion or elicit emotion in the reader. And he took the poem in Galician, produced by the artificial intelligence, sent it to his friends in Galicia, and said something like, look at this beautiful poem that I have written. And they said, oh yeah, fantastic, that's a beautiful poem.
Fantastic poem, no? I think maybe not now, but for sure, in not so many years, there is going, no va a ser posible diferenciar si un poema lo ha escrito una máquina o un humano, ¿no? Bueno, ¿es un problema esto? Quiero decir...
Pues no hemos llegado allá.
No hemos llegado allá,
Next,
¿no?
Yuyutsu, you're next.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very far-fetched question from where I come. You know, where I come from, Himalayas. We just got internet. So people write in different folk meter, Sanskrit meter. I mean, it's entirely different world. So I think this question will probably go there after a few decades. I mean, of course, you use, if you say artificial intelligence, I've used it like Google Translate, or you use it like Siri or search engine. I mean, but the kind of work we write is more of intrinsic, Himalayan lore and the classical text work. So I do not think they can create. I mean, I was listening. I found this challenge. I was this guy going to give me work, like saying you translate this novel, and I'm going to sign a contract for like $10,000, and then he said, his son says, there's this new thing, and they just got this software. They can translate your novel. He's telling his father. So I'm losing my job right away. So this is coming to us slowly, and this guy only just got this software, and the father is saying, no, but you know more about the culture. But he said, no, they even know the culture. So he says it's quite a challenge that's going to, especially to the translators.
En español nos dice que en los Himalayas, de donde viene, hasta ahora está llegando el internet, y que ahora mismo está perdiendo su trabajo porque firma contratos para hacer traducciones y resulta que el hijo de su cliente le dice, papá, ya lo puede hacer una máquina. Y el autor dice, no, él conoce más la cultura, pero definitivamente es un problema que piensa él llegará en décadas a su región. Miss Wallace.
So the question was, have we used artificial intelligence in any way, not just for writing? Right? Yeah. And I do think that you're right, we use it in ways that we don't understand. My husband just reminded me, we use it anytime you do a PowerPoint presentation, for example, for college. It starts to come up with ideas for how to design the slides for you. Anytime you use Siri, anytime you use Alexa, anytime we use a translation device, and I use those with my students all the time. I think that we use artificial intelligence in a lot of ways that we're maybe not even aware of. myself, I've never used it for writing, but I've used tools like Microsoft Word, like Office that have artificial intelligence built into them. But in terms of like generating actual work, I have never used
Es que nunca lo he usado, pero que entiende que vivimos en un mundo donde hay sistemas que la están utilizando todo el tiempo. Y que su esposo le recordó que cuando usamos el PowerPoint o Microsoft Word ya está dentro del sistema de la inteligencia artificial, pero que ya no lo sabe. Aquí. Jacqueline, Loweree.
Bueno, confieso que la inteligencia artificial casi no la uso, pero la brutalidad natural es así. Es así. So I haven't really leveraged artificial intelligence as much as I would have liked to have done in the past couple of months since really we got this explosion, right? In my writing, I don't write with efforts. And so it's something very intrinsic to me, it's something very personal, so I haven't really explored the full opportunity of writing through this method. But I think there is a lot of questioning that I have done about the field because of artificial intelligence. And I would like for that to be something that we explore in this panel. But just to keep my answer brief, no, I haven't really leveraged it to its fullest extent. And I don't even know what that is, right?
Muy bien. Bueno, nos aclara que no lo ha usado realmente, pero que le gustaría que discutiéramos el tema aquí en este panel, pero ella no lo ha hecho porque no escribe con el propósito simplemente de escribir. La escritura tiene otra razón de ser en su vida.
Yeah, definitely I hear a lot of the answers and they're really interesting. I have used artificial.
He has. He's one of them. He's one of them. Es uno de ellos.
The first thing that came to mind when he was talking about translation was Google Translate. Like I've used Google Translate and I've used it over time. So I knew that before it used to be pretty bad, and it's gotten better. And thinking about what he said is scary because eventually, they can practically replace a person. However, it cannot be personal. So even though sometimes I've used Google Translate to translate something, and I read it and I'm like, but that's not how I would say it. So you still cannot. But I feel like if it's gotten that good now, maybe you can adjust to. At some point, they'll be able to adjust it to any type of culture or individual. I don't know, but I feel it can get to the point where it can be really defined, and that's dangerous. Yeah. So in terms of using artificial intelligence for creative work, I believe that you need to use artificial intelligence for creative work, and what are you doing? But for other stuff, yeah, like I did a trip to New Orleans, and there's a lot of stuff we wanted to do. So I shared like the list of things I wanted to do, and I say I have this many days. I want to get in at this time. We go out at this time. These are the times I want to go to the hotel. This day I want to do workout, and this all that I want to do. And then I sent the info, and then he organized the whole trip. So for that I have. But at the same time, it's like if there's a person that will do that for me, I might take the job away from someone. I don't know. So.
Okay. Muy bien. Rápidamente, no lo ha usado para escribir, pero sí lo ha usado para traducir, lo ha usado, por ejemplo, para planear un viaje. Y le ha dicho a la inteligencia artificial, yo tengo este tiempo, quiero hacer estas cosas, y la inteligencia artificial le sirve como un asistente y le funciona. Y quizá le estaba quitando el trabajo de una persona también. Es un viaje.
So I personally have never used AI to generate writing. I'm sure I've used it somehow in my daily life, Google Translate to translate from Bengali to English to talk to my family abroad. But I, as a student in university, ChatGPT is very popular amongst students to write essays.
Como estudiante, ya dice que entre los estudiantes se ha vuelto muy popular utilizar el ChatGPT para hacer ensayos, pero que ella misma no lo ha usado.
Yeah, but I've always just been against it. I think a lot of my writing comes from the editing process that takes, which is 70% of the writing, which is that really
This is a good point.
dive just into.
Es un buen punto. Dicen que en la escritura, la parte más importante, el 70% de su escritura es la corrección, la edición, y que ahí no utiliza no se puede utilizar la inteligencia artificial, sino la edición. Okay, makes perfect sense. Yeah.
And if you just put something in, artificial intelligence, it's going to give you a perfect response in 30 seconds.
Mhm.
So all of that time that you could have done exploring your own self, the world around you, that editing, which is so important, I don't think can ever be
Claro,
replicated.
si le preguntas a la inteligencia artificial algo rápidamente, te da una respuesta rápidamente y pierdes el tiempo de haber explorado tu propio ser, tu propio sujeto y el tiempo de la edición que es tan importante. You are wise beyond your years. Okay? Right? Elizabeth Torres. The mic to Elizabeth Torres. Elisa, thank you. Elizabeth Torres practices what I would call expanded poetry and poetry in expansion. Elizabeth Torres practica lo que yo llamaría una poesía expandida que se expande en expansión también. And she's an artist that also mixes different mediums, different media, right? Ella mezcla diferentes medios, es una poeta experimental. You know, I selected this panel on purpose. Hicimos esta selección a propósito, okay? So you, as an experimental poet, as someone who has dealt with the matters of representation, okay, would you be comfortable sharing the space, you know, with an artificial intelligence? You know, if you know, an anthology, Elizabeth Torres, and then the artificial intelligence. And then, you know, would you share your space with artificial intelligence as an artist?
I think I already am, actually, because it's all around us. It's already in our phones. It's already in the technologies that we have. And I think that the easiest way to approach any type of technology is not with fear, but with knowledge. The more informed we are, the more we have the possibilities of experimenting with it. And I'm an interdisciplinary artist, a multimedia artist, so I like to combine different methods of creativity and of expression and put them together specifically on stage, like a theater, or more for like immersive experiences that are intimate, so one-on-one. And when teaching classes, it has a lot to do with different technologies and analog technologies. So how do we combine the sounds of a typewriter with the responses that any AI could give us? And something that I found really cool to do. But I'm very wary about the fact that if anything that we give AI becomes Creative Commons. So any poem that I feed the machine is a copyrighted poem, right? It's already been published. But I am really enjoying sending these poems to Midjourney and watching the images that appear, that are created, because with those, I can use those as prompts of inspiration for video or for creating landscapes and so on. So yeah, definitely collaborations with the machine. We already are in the matrix.
Bueno, dice Elisa, ya lo puede traducir mejor que yo, pero ella nos dice que ella piensa que ya lo está usando. Vivimos en un mundo en el que estamos inmersos en esa realidad de la inteligencia artificial, y ella cree que no debemos temer a la tecnología, sino que tenemos que aproximarnos a la tecnología con una actitud de conocimiento y que la ha utilizado pues para experimentar en la relación con la producción de textos a través de las máquinas y de formas de representación, y además la traducción de textos a imágenes o imágenes a textos también, que es.
Pero creo que lo importante es mencionar que todo lo que le entregamos de información a esas máquinas se convierte en contenido público. Entonces, que es importante por lo menos utilizar el trabajo que ya está registrado para que continúe siendo nuestro.
Está haciendo un muy buen punto. She's making a great point here. You know, everything you put into the machine, into the system, becomes, I don't know if it's public property, it becomes public property, but those who handle the channels are actually the real owners, right? Because if you feed it into ChatGPT, whoever owns ChatGPT actually is the gatekeeper of that information.
Not for ChatGPT, but for the visual ones like Midjourney. And yeah, there's a lot of them, but whatever image is created, they supposedly hold the copyright to it. But if it's created from your work, then you hold the original copyright of the content. But that is being fought right now. It's going to be a long process, because whose image does it belong to? If it was taken, the original information for the coding of these images created comes from artists who did not give the permission to have their work used for the images that are being produced for us. But they, the creators of these apps, are currently holding the copyrights, or trying to at least.
Muy buen punto. Hay una discusión sobre los derechos de autor, como dice Elizabeth, si uno no es cuidadoso puede estarle obsequiando al sistema cosas gratis, pero si uno maneja su propio trabajo que está registrado, entonces hay una discusión y puede proteger sus derechos de autor. Yo quiero que tengamos esta discusión sobre la propiedad en un segundo. Avi Abdel Hafez, how are you? Avi? Professor Avi Abdel Hafez, you are asking me, let me tell you that he just translated Don Quixote into Arabic.
No.
Yeah, no. He's one of the greatest translators ever, you know, he said. If not the greatest, one of the top. And everything she publishes in Arabic is a bestseller. She's a translator of Bolaño, among other things. Martín Fierro, also. He has translated Martín Fierro in Arabic. And my question, and it comes after the question I asked Elizabeth for a reason, is this. You, as someone who has profited a lot from the work of Miguel de Cervantes Saavedra, right? Right? And from the Martín Fierro, another work. Do you think you should pay copyrights to whoever owns Don Quixote, or is it okay? At some point, is it okay to translate, the classics and then make a lot of money as you do?
Well, this is a big question, and big questions need big answers.
Las grandes preguntas necesitan grandes respuestas, dice la doctora. Le estoy preguntando que si, como ya ha traducido a estas Miguel Hernández, bueno, tanta gente, a Cervantes, que si en algún momento está bien que no le pague derechos a Cervantes o a los descendientes o a los dueños, que si está bien ganarse todo ese dinero que ya se gana con esto. Y me dice que las grandes preguntas tienen grandes respuestas. What is the answer?
Yo
creo, question,
sí, que yo creo que ya hasta ese punto, pues esas obras ya se hicieron como una parte del bagaje cultural de la historia del mundo.
Those works of art already belong to the cultural heritage of humanity, right?
Y si nosotros podemos tener acceso a preguntar a Cervantes o el autor a José Hernández de Martín Fierro o Jorge Manrique, porque yo hice también con Plaza.
She also translated Jorge Manrique. I'm telling you, this is,
Entonces seguro que me imagino que no les va a interesar para nada tener honorarios por la traducción ni nada, porque estarán muy a gusto de la divulgación de su poesía, de su filosofía y de esas imágenes tan bellas que no tienen nada que ver con la tecnología.
Okay.
Sí.
Okay. So what she says is that if you ask these writers, if you could ask them, they would be actually happy to see that their work have achieved this status. That's a fair answer. So it seems like what I am getting out of this is that in the contemporary work, what Elizabeth says, there is a dispute, there is a discussion on property rights, right? However, Abir has defended, it's not that you oppose Elizabeth, but you have clarified that at some point there are some pieces of works, some works of art that become part of the cultural heritage of humanity, and therefore the discussion over property is a waste of time for. Okay, makes sense. Okay, makes perfect sense.
Es como pedir permiso para sacar una foto de las pirámides.
Would you need to ask for permission or pay for copyrights to take a picture of the pyramids of the Taj Mahal? You're totally right? So the question, Marcos de la Fuente, let's not to Marcos de la Fuente. The question, Marcos de la Fuente, where do you draw the line between the classics and the contemporary artists? What do we do with property, my dear friend? What do we do with this? At the very end, there is a dispute about two things, okay? Financial benefits and moral rights. The moral right to be recognized for your work is something that you never resign. When Abir translates Cervantes, she includes Cervantes' name on the book. So the moral rights, you cannot resign. However, we know that we live in a market economy, right? And artists, full-time artists like Elizabeth, like yourself, like many others in this panel, they need a way to make a living, and they have the right to earn a living with the product of the labor, right? So where do you draw the line between one and the other? ¿Dónde trazas la línea entre la propiedad privada? Los artistas, hay un momento en el que ya no importa Pero los artistas contemporáneos tienen derecho a ganarse la vida con el fruto de su trabajo. Where do you draw the line? ¿Eh? ¿Dónde trazas la línea? ¿Eh?
Pues...
¿Dónde trazas la línea?
Tienes que hacerlo con
La línea, bueno, no sé, yo no sé cuánta gente, no sé cuántos poetas aquí viven de los royalties de su poesía. O sea, how many poets live from the rights of his or her poetry? ¿Cuántos de los poetas que estamos aquí estamos viviendo de nuestros libros, no? ¿Alguien vive de sus libros?
Yo de la traducción.
A mí vive de los libros de otros.
Entonces yo creo que quizás ese sería el punto de salida, ¿no? Ese sería o sea, quiero decir, me parece como algo utópico pensar en los derechos de la inteligencia artificial y hace 2 semanas teníamos esta conversación, ¿no? También hablábamos de inteligencia artificial con una persona que hablaba de todo esto, de que las inteligencias estaban cogiendo los textos de otros y convirtiéndolos y ganando dinero. Bueno, yo creo que esto es algo como que a nosotros casi que nos da igual, ¿no? A nosotros lo que de verdad perdóname Carlos, pero quizá lo que más nos importa es cómo hacer para ganar algún dinero con nuestra poesía, ¿no? Y con los libros que publicamos, porque nos suponen mucho esfuerzo, mucho tiempo y mucho trabajo, ¿no? Y mucha pasión, y no estamos ganando dinero con eso. Los poetas ganamos dinero porque enseñamos, porque damos clase, porque hacemos eventos,
He's to the point. What he's saying is that basically he wonders how many people here, with the exception of Javier, who makes money with other people's books, right?
Not that much as well. It's not that much.
I see your house. I see your mansion, okay? I'll be there, okay? So, to my standards, you're doing fine, okay? What he's saying is true, you know, he wonders. And when you actually see how the amount of money that writers, poets, make these days, the question is becomes another question is how do we make a living? How do we earn a living with our art? Okay, and with all the effort that we put into making these works of art happen and sharing this with people. We always, as he says, actually make a living because they teach. Because they do other things, right? They perform other services, right?
Sí, entonces quizás antes de enfadarnos con la máquina,
rather than getting angry with the machine, yeah?
Porque está cogiendo nuestros textos, creo que deberíamos, de alguna forma, ahí lo dejo, volver atrás y cambiar el sistema actual de el dinero que nosotros recibimos por nuestros libros o por nuestro trabajo de poetas, ¿no? Entonces, esto es una cosa, ¿no? Entonces, quizá luego podemos hacer una mesa redonda después y ver cómo podemos todos los poetas cambiar ese sistema del dinero que recibimos por nuestros libros de las editoriales, ¿no? Bueno, we are talking about poetry, ¿no? Y luego, entonces, esto me hace pensar, quizá la máquina, quizá la inteligencia artificial nos puede dar una nueva manera de ganar dinero con nuestra poesía, ¿no? Porque la transformamos en otra cosa que es más que poesía, como decía Elizabeth, que son imágenes, que son vídeos, que es arte, y también porque pues la inteligencia artificial nos puede ayudar a eso.
Maybe artificial intelligence can help us in that quest of finding ways to earn a living.
I just want to add that I asked ChatGPT how to make money as a poet.
Okay. Le preguntó a la inteligencia artificial cómo gana dinero como poeta, okay?
And it said that I should become an influencer.
Which she is, okay? Dice que debe convertirse en una persona influyente y lo es.
No, an online influencer, you know, with like hundreds of thousands of followers. and that I should do that by making daily videos of my poetry, and telling everybody that I'm a poet.
Conviértase en un influencer, haga videos de todos los días, consiga 100,000 seguidores. Okay, so the first agreement in this roundtable is that we are all going to follow Elizabeth Torres in social media. Okay, she's on, Mala never stopped because she's on her way to becoming the first influencer in this panel. And you deserve to lo mereces. I already follow you, but I will do my best to get you more followers. Okay. Okay. Yuyutsu.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very intriguing situation, because my part of the world, poets don't write to make money.
Yeah, en su parte del mundo, las poetas no escriben para ganar dinero.
Poet Kabir, one of the Indian poets, the Sufi, like Bhakti poet, the devotional poet says, if you want to be a poet, first put your house on fire and come with me.
Okay, si usted es un poeta de la tradición sufí, dijo, si usted quiere ser poeta, queme su casa y sígame.
It's not easy, John. To be a poet is not easy. First, renounce yourself. Renounce your world and belong to the world, to the humanities. So it's more of a humanitarian job in my part of the world. It's not a professional kind of.
Sí, lo que está diciendo es que la poesía de alguna forma es una forma de renunciar a lo material en uno mismo. ¿Sí? Así mismo, ¿sí? Okay.
So I don't know if this question is valid because in India or in Nepal, most of the books that sell are poetry books. Like in Nepal, Munna Madan, the one book that sells, even today, after 50 years, is the poetry book, the best-selling book.
El libro más leído en Nepal es un libro de poemas, ¿no?
In India, Ramayana, Mahabharata, the epics, they sell, and even poetry sells. The poetry is always on the top list. Because of the traditional lifestyle of people, because of the people. Now with this, also the whole idea of artificial intelligence is to uniform, to destroy diversity, and to bring a kind of mechanical, like McDonald's, this kind of. Every city is same, every kind. So this is not poetry. This is kind of getting away from poetry. So in essence, in my part of the world, poetry is something else.
Good question. Sonia, Dila. Oh, you're next. You say, oh my God.
Can I speak on that?
Sure.
The only thing that I wanted to say too is that artificial intelligence in and of itself is technology. And like you said, language is technology. Poetry, written word is technology. Technology throughout time has evolved, and so have we. And I think that thinking about the Industrial Revolution, right? All of a sudden we got machines, we got electric lights, and what happened? The workers started being exploited by the people that they were working for, working longer hours and harder for less pay. And in a sense, what happens in any of these moments of great change with technology is that society comes together and creates laws and boundaries and ethics around the use of that technology. So just because we have a machine in a factory doesn't mean that a human being can sit at that machine for 24 hours a day, right? So we create these boundaries and these laws for ourselves, and we're seeing that right now in the writing world with the strikes that are going on with SAG and WGA and all of those people coming together to say, hey, this is not right. We want to put into law, into contract law, into all of these are not only into law, but also into the idea of humankind, that we are drawing the line.
Lo que la señora Wallace está diciendo es que cuando hay esos grandes cambios en tecnología, también hay unas reacciones éticas de la sociedad. Que las sociedades reaccionan y que se está viendo ahora con respecto a los paros que se dan de los escritores, por ejemplo, en Hollywood, y están poniendo esto dentro de los contratos. O sea que la sociedad siempre tiene una reacción frente a estas transformaciones que inicialmente siempre con las nuevas tecnologías se utilizan para explotar más al trabajador o deshumanizar más el trabajo, que sería la pérdida. Sonia, Dida.
The question about ownership and writing.
Yes.
So that's something that I'm always just aware of when I write. I think as growing up when I go into my writing, I always just remember that a lot of my work is the accumulation of how people have influenced me. So I can never take full credit. Even if I put everything together and I kind of embroidered it like to kind of create a mosaic, to create a mosaic, I can take credit for that, the compilation of all stories. But each story that is within, like my one story has like 100 stories in it. So I'm always just wondering, you know, when I ever publish my work, and the idea of credibility, no one will ever know every single person that needs to be credited for my work. Because I can talk about my mother, I can talk about...
Ese es un buen punto. Su trabajo, el trabajo de un autor es la recopilación de lo que ha heredado de muchas otras personas y realmente nunca hay manera de darle crédito a todas las personas que de alguna forma tendrían derecho a tener crédito. Totally right. I told you you're wise beyond your years.
I agree, but I feel like any type of art is the sum of the human experience. And the human experience is personal. Nobody in the world has the same experience as a human that I've had. So what I produce, being a product of the things that I've experienced myself, is going to be something really particular. What he was saying in terms of artificial intelligence, taking your words and using them in a way, I mean, that's the problem. The problem for me is that the technology has a power that we don't have. For instance, if you think about being an influencer, there's a possibility with technology to approach an audience that we cannot do by ourselves unless we have the access to that technology.
Okay.
So that's something that we cannot compete with. So I feel like what she said about putting rails, because I've used artificial intelligence, and I think that in a way is something that we have to adapt to, but also it needs to be regulated. So that you know we can use it, but at the same time it doesn't replace us, because there's no way that anything that you write, the experience that you have is yours. Even if it's influenced by a lot of people.
Está making a great point. Lo que está haciendo un gran punto. Lo que está diciéndonos es que la inteligencia artificial no puede reemplazar la experiencia humana. Y que nadie tiene la experiencia humana que ha tenido él, por ejemplo, que has tenido tú, en este caso. Entonces, en ese sentido, no se puede reemplazar. Let me take that point and bring it to Gustavo Gac-Artigas. Gustavo, we talk about artificial intelligence trying to replace the creator. Hablamos de la inteligencia artificial tratando de reemplazar al creador. Pero, ¿por qué nadie discute la inteligencia artificial como público? Tú que te has dedicado al teatro, que has estudiado la relación entre el actor y el público, y lo has cuestionado con tu quehacer, ¿por qué nadie habla de la inteligencia artificial como público? ¿No te gustaría, has pensado alguna vez que las inteligencias artificiales podrían ser público? ¿O es que el público tiene que ser, como dice Jorge Luis, exclusivamente humano? I'm asking him to question why no one ever wonders why artificial intelligence is always playing the role of the creator. But what about artificial intelligence as public? What about you having a public made out of artificial intelligence? Why? As a playwright, as an actor, as someone who has studied the relationship between public and the actor and the scene and the spectator, this is a fair question to us at this point. Es una buena pregunta, dime.
Y es muy buena. Yo diría que no lo había pensado, Carlos, pero de alguna forma, cuando se trabaja con inteligencia artificial, se está entregando de alguna forma lo que tú estás creando. Y la máquina está integrándola y está aprendiendo y se la va a entregar a otro. No tu experiencia personal, pero sí lo que tú escribiste. En algún momento otro lo puede utilizar y decir, esto es parte de la experiencia humana. No la rechacemos, está ahí. Habría que ver quién está ganando detrás de aquello. no nosotros. Cuando un traductor usa o emplea 3 idiomas diferentes para buscar el sentido exacto de una traducción, la inteligencia artificial también es una herramienta que permite explorar una palabra con otra.
You see what he's doing? He's saying that I made this funny on purpose, as you can tell, right? So what he's saying is that in a way, when you give something to the artificial intelligence is going to process it and give it to another person, okay? And that, is going to use your human experience and then become a channel for another person to consume a version of your experience.
Estamos entregando data.
Estamos dando nuestros datos.
La data universal, que de alguna forma, Jorge, la biblioteca universal, soñó Borges, está ahí. La tenemos en la punta de los dedos.
This is like the dream of Jorge Luis Borges. This is the universal library that Borges dream about. We have it in the tip of our fingers.
Ahora, no hay que tenerle miedo, pero hay que saber cómo emplearla.
We shouldn't be afraid of this, but we need to know how to use it.
¿Qué es lo que queremos? Un actor cuando te dice un parlamento, sabe que el parlamento muere una vez que sale de ti y llega al público. Él va a leer y lo va a reescribir de una forma diferente. La inteligencia artificial no está reescribiendo el pensamiento de una forma diferente, pero lo está integrando a una posibilidad de datos en que la persona que lo está leyendo en un momento puede decir, esto me sirve, esto es una experiencia que yo tengo. Quizás esté leyendo, no la inteligencia artificial, el lector de la inteligencia artificial, esté leyendo lo que tú en algún momento dijiste.
Okay, this is interesting. An actor, when he or she says the lines, knows that the spectator is going to rewrite and recreate it in their own way. And in a way, the artificial intelligence is integrating everything you give it, right? And it might deliver it to someone else who at some point might agree with some of the things that were elicited by you, right?
De alguna forma también se decía que jamás va a poder escribir como un ser humano, que no tiene la capacidad de las emociones para hacerlo. Sin embargo, nos están jugando y presentando el resultado como un ser humano. En un momento determinado se está conversando, no con la máquina, se piensa que se está conversando con otro ser que está al lado allá.
In a way, although this is not a human being, the way it is presented lets you know that you are having a conversation with another being that is over there. Fantastic. Sí, Wallace, she wants to get involved.
También para decir que esto es como la idea de Octavio Paz también, de que el lenguaje, el idioma en sí es algo casi igual, that once you say something or read or speak it or write it, it is no longer yours. It is dissolved into the ether, and the person who is reading it, it is not the same thing as the person who is saying it or writing it. It is then pictured in their mind as a different thing. So it is a transmission, it is that channel that you were talking about. The idea that language in and of itself is kind of like that as well.
Está citando Octavio Paz, está recordándonos que cuando la lengua es de sí misma, lo que hace es que genera otra realidad mental en el receptor. Yuyutsu.
The whole idea is going back to the question of authorship.
Okay, vamos a la idea del autor.
So do we need an authorship? Because there was no authorship before the industrial world. So these are epic Homer or Kalidas.
Necesitamos, recordemos que no había antes del mundo industrializado, no existía la noción de autor.
Vyasa, the Hurud, Mahabharata, Ramayana, nobody knows if they were one person, and they were like small fragments which were written by others and added to the whole book.
En ciertas tradiciones, en estas obras, personas agregaban cosas a los libros.
But the whole idea was sacred. The idea was
Pero la idea era crear algo sagrado.
But here idea is to commercial.
Y aquí la idea es comercial.
So artificial intelligence intends to sell. So this again is becoming the same. The death of the author, which an individual talent that it is and its stuff. We talk all that individuality and talent. So my point is also the purpose, like the silence. The main purpose of poetry is to create silence and a metaphor.
Dice Yuyutsu que el propósito más importante o el principal meta de la poesía es crear silencio.
So can artificial intelligence create metaphor?
¿Puede la inteligencia artificial crear metáforas del silencio?
Can it?
Elizabeth, yeah, that's a good question.
When you work with ChatGPT to try to like discuss for poetry and create poetry, you quickly realize that it's been trained to do the practical stuff. A CV is easy, a recipe is easy, but when you think of poetry, it has a very obsolete notion of what poetry is, and it's stuck in rhyme, it's stuck in common places. It doesn't really have, like you say, the human experience, the contemporary emotions and situations that we use, because our word is very personal, it's testimony. So even if it becomes, the world's, it has the stamp of how we saw it, how we interpreted it. And then one thing that you can do when you're working with ChatGPT is you tell it, I want you to speak of me of these subjects, but then you need to use the style of this author, and that one. And then it becomes like it starts to do interesting things. So it's not that it cannot, because it will interpret the work of others just as it does with anything else, but it's the poetry itself that it doesn't understand yet, because it's not a recipe, it's not a square container to produce content.
Bueno, tiene razón, Elizabeth nos está diciendo que las cosas repetitivas, como una hoja de vida, como las puede hacer fácilmente, pero cuando se trata de la poesía, pues es más difícil, y incluso hay que darle más instrucciones a la máquina para que siga ciertos modelos y ciertos patrones, porque de lo contrario va a los lugares comunes, va a la rima, no es creativa, no habla de la experiencia humana en esos términos. Yes,
one question is, will my question is, too, I wonder if artificial intelligence would be able to create metaphors of silence.
We know that. Él quiere repetir su pregunta. ¿Será que la inteligencia artificial podrá crear metáforas de silencio? That's a great question. Yeah. You better put that in writing. So we use it sooner rather than later. Because this is a capitalist world, We are all in this competition, Okay? But it's a wise question and it's a great question. Dale.
Mira, estoy pensando que al principio de esta charla hablé, yo no escribo con ese propósito. Y estoy pensando en ChatGPT, porque hemos hablado mucho de ChatGPT, que tiene el botoncito que dice Generate, Entonces, para mí, la poesía es una función reflexiva, ¿no? Es un espejo hacia mi interior. Ahora, yo no escribo con el propósito de generar, sino de reflexionar. Haces la pregunta, ¿no? La inteligencia artificial puede ser una audiencia, te pregunto yo, puede ser un editor, puede ser un espejo, porque si la usamos con la función de la traducción, por ejemplo, cuando nosotros traducimos nuestros poemas, digamos, hace 2 días escribí un poema en español y luego lo traduje en inglés. Y al traducirlo dije, tengo que cambiar esto en el español, sonaría mejor así. Entonces es un proceso reflexivo. Entonces me pregunto yo, ¿cómo podemos usar la inteligencia artificial para reflexionar, para editarnos? Porque hablas, ¿no? You say 70% of writing is editing, right? So how do we use artificial intelligence as a mechanism to improve what comes intrinsically from within?
That's a great point. Could it be used as an instrument in our reflexive process, right? Because our process of for Jacqueline writing is a process of self-exploration, self-reflection. So could it be a mirror to let you see your own face? Could it be an editor? Could it be a companion in that process of correction? And the example that she uses is when she translates herself from Spanish into English or English into Spanish, she calls back to the other language. So yes, it could be a tool. Ms. Wallace and then Abel.
I was just gonna say it, but that's the difference. If you're using it for yourself, then that's one thing, right? You're learning it to reflect into as a tool that you use to create something for yourself. But when it becomes commercial, when it becomes that someone is using your poem to write something that they're then going to present as theirs, that is the question, right? So if you I'm going to take your poem, and then I'm going to put it into a machine and then say, oh no, actually that's my poem. That is where the point, I think the line gets crossed. So, for example, if we take your words and put them into a machine and then use it to generate books that are then sold, right, then that is the line, or the copyright. The legality of it is where do we, like, if we use it for ourselves, great. You know, if we use it for a purpose that is more capitalist or commercial or whatever, which is inevitable, right? But where is that? Where is that line?
¿Dónde está la línea? ¿Dónde está la línea? Porque la línea otra vez vuelve cuando se vuelve comercial. Avida del Jafés.
Bueno, es una pregunta muy difícil porque hoy todo el mundo está usando Google Translate. Nosotros todos estamos usando Google Translate para muchos objetivos, incluso para buscar palabras y eso, pero el miedo de la inteligencia artificial es que es artificial.
The fear, he says, we are all using, Google Translate finding words and expressions sometimes, but the fear of artificial intelligence is the artificial part of it, that it is artificial. Right?
El miedo de usar, yo como traductora y también como profesora,
as a translator and a professor,
cuando pienso en estas líneas límites o esa línea límite entre hasta qué punto podemos usar Google Translate o estas herramientas de inteligencia artificial, pues en poesía yo diría que estoy muy de acuerdo con el poeta de Himalaya de que la metáfora, el uso de la metáfora, eso es muy arriesgado, porque la metáfora, se supone que la metáfora es como una acumulación de símiles, de imágenes, de metalengua, entonces es muy arriesgado usar el Google Translate o esas herramientas en la poesía. Segundo, los sinónimos.
She says that it's very risky to use those tools to create metaphors because it's risky. Yeah. And then,
es como, por ejemplo, en árabe nosotros decimos, tenemos muchas metáforas, es una lengua.
In Arabic, they have many metaphors.
Y para decir a una persona que te quiero mucho, we can say, like, you are my eye.
You are my eye in Arabic.
Yeah, if we translate it into English or into Spanish, it would be so different. It would be, you are like the apple of my heart, maybe?
The apple of my eye.
My eye as well,
You are the apple of my eye.
Yeah, but if we do it if we do the apple of my eye into Arabic, this would be very comical. Muy cómico la expresión. Y eso pues es... Sí, en mi ojo. Entonces, la metáfora es uno de los campos arriesgados que seguro que se va a perder. Incluso los sinónimos, con el tiempo, todos nosotros sabemos...
Metaphors and synonyms are at risk, she says.
Esto, porque nosotros ahora, en el siglo XXI, no estamos usando cada uno en su lengua el mismo vocabulario que se había usado como hace 20, 30 años. Entonces, esas máquinas de traducción o de producción están usando como un número límite de palabras, entonces los
exactly. What Abir is saying is that due to the fact that we are inputting a limited number of expressions into these machines, they are using by themselves, they are using a limited universe of references, and therefore language is being impoverished, or could be impoverished, could be losing actually in terms of synonyms or
Por eso ahora uno de los criterios, porque hay buenos traductores y hay malos traductores.
There are good translators and bad translators. Okay.
Sí, porque los traductores con más bagaje cultural, con más lectura, con más sinónimos, con más antónimos, con más conocimiento viejo de la lengua, puede ser. Pero ahora mismo, si nosotros usamos esas técnicas modernas de traducción, Borges es lo mismo que Márquez, es lo mismo que...
Yeah, exactly. What they're saying is that
es lo mismo de Carlos Aguas.
Translators with a lot of experience and knowledge of the cultural heritages of the languages were able to do great things in moving from one language to the other. But if we only use these technologies, Borges will sound exactly as García Márquez, and the individual characteristics might disappear. Fantastic.
Y nosotros lo vemos con la nueva generación de traductores que ahora pues intentan entrar en el mercado.
And she says that new translators are trying to enter into the market.
Sí, yo leo un árabe de traducción y no puedes hacer ninguna diferencia. Por eso hay muchos puntos de riesgo en cuanto a esa traducción mecánica.
Mechanical translation is risky.
Sí, y yo quiero añadir algo. Yo personalmente creo que los novelistas pues hicieron un gran esfuerzo para proteger la ficción.
Novelists made a great effort to protect fiction.
Sí, mientras los poetas no lo hicieron.
But poets didn't make the same effort to protect poetry.
Sí, con todo respeto.
With all due respect, yeah.
Porque miramos como a finales del siglo XX al siglo XX con esos manifestos literarios del crack, de Macondo, de realismo sucio, pues los novelistas latinoamericanos hicieron esos manifestos para hacer como una nueva imagen de la ficción en el siglo XXI.
Yeah,
mientras los poetas no lo hicieron.
The end of the 20th century, there were some groups like Macondo and the crack generation that tried to they put out their statements, manifests, trying to update, right, the status of fiction, and while poets, unfortunately, didn't do it. But we are going to do it here, okay? Fantastic. And that is the last word. Esa es la última palabra en esta mesa redonda. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you very much, Profesor David Garcés, Egipto, Elizabeth Torres, Colombia, Estados Unidos, Dinamarca, Gustavo Gac-Artigas de Chile, from Chile, from Galicia, Marcos de la Fuente, from Nepal and India, Yuyutsu Sharma, from Paraguay, C.E. Wallace, from Mexico, Jacqueline, Loweree, from Puerto Rico, from Berrios. I'm from the City College of New York, Sonia Avila. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this. We're going to take a break of 6 minutes break, and then we're going to start at 4 p.m. o'clock on the dot with the poetry reading. Okay? I'm going to play the video a couple of times so people can enjoy the music. Okay? Thank you so much.
Have you ever heard of Chile? So it's like a speaker. So you speak to the camera and you count your keywords, count like repetitive words, count like keys, and then you give feedback. So that people will only ask about the audience. What about this?
O sea, que decir, hay un mercado de poesía. Claro, yo puedo decir, vale, yo no sé si me conviene como profesor, estará ganando dinero, pero claro,
Educación.
ganas dinero, pero
What happened? Oh, can I do it? I think I have the wrong number. Right. ¡Qué frío! No tiene encerrado un poco.
Yeah, I mean, quite a few things for us. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes. But you know what? I was talking. I have my meeting with my boss, and I produced a lot of classes. I mean, we're right now. The resident right now. So that's working at administration. I have a little bit of something to produce, but I think trying to squeeze. Like reading, writing, practicing them I'm performing.
Jenny, una vez más. Una vecita. Okay, this is the first call. This is the first call for the poetry reading. Please find your places.
That's why I like to travel.
But yeah, I can relate to this part. It's proud and
Va a poner el micrófono acá. Hey, this is the second call. Second call for the poetry reading. Esta es la segunda llamada. Please find your places. Okay, and this is the third and final call for the poetry reading. Please find your places. As a piece of information, we are streaming to YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and Twitter Live. So anything you say, most likely will be used against you by your professors. Okay. Irene Santos Lopez. Irene Santos Lopez will be calling the poets for the reading.
Muy buenas tardes, good afternoon. How do you feel, everyone? Yeah? Good? Good? Yeah? See? Okay. Okay, when we finish here, we are going to the Consulado Argentino. Yeah, we have to take the metro. ¿Sí? ¿Están todos aquí?
Yes.
¿Están todos? Una lectura entre poetas. ¿Mm? Thank you everybody for being here celebrating our 10th anniversary at the American Poetry Festival. And I want to start because, yes, we have 1 hour. Yes. Okay, I want to call right now. Yeah, I think I'm a student, Carlos Aguasaki student, right? See, Sumia?
No, I'm not his student. I'm from City College, though.
Oh, okay, I heard that. Okay, welcome, Sumia. Sumia, your last name? Avida, yes. Oh, I forgot this. Okay, welcome. Un aplauso.
So, hi everyone, I'm Sumaya. I'm going to be reciting 2 poems, and if we have time, I've prepared a 3rd poem as well. So the first poem is called Blue Scrubs and Baby Blue Walls. I wake up to the sound of the adhan the vibrations of a higher power bouncing back between the baby blue walls of our home, lifting us from our last dreams and into the break of dawn. Milk tea is brewing in the kitchen. The fabric of cardamom, ginger, cinnamon is the armor on my mom's tongue before she enters the front lines in her blue scrubs to spend the next 7 hours treating patients. I finish my morning prayers when the sun leaks through our veranda doors and caress my cheeks as a gentle reminder that the shadows of my darkest hours cannot hold me, that my breaking points are only temporary, and another morning will come when milk tea is brewing in the kitchen, when my mother is putting on her blue scrubs inside the blue walls of our home. So this next poem, I actually wrote when I was younger, studying Hinduism. So this was kind of my take on it as a girl. It's called Essence of Being. What is a human all but a walking, talking, moving body of bones and flesh? Yeah, sure, we have a personality, exposed to a reality, filled with good treasuries, tender memories relieve us like remedies, derived from a trajectory of what we think this one life is all about, what we think is our ultimate concern. Now, Hinduism disagrees. This life is just one of many entities. Let us not be pained by the prerequisites of our gains. This obsession comes known opposition, like addictions attached to fake depictions, lost visions from mass distractions, love riddled with truths hidden, our world stricken. Let us take a step back, focus on our breathing, unearth the beauty, that simple delight of just being. Let us meditate, rest upon a serene state, center the mind and focus. Soon magic happens like hocus pocus. Let's do bhakti yoga and feel the surreal elevation to an alternate dimension, release all tension and center our attention. And so this last poem is actually not on the agenda, but if you all would allow me to hold space to share some thoughts and feelings I've had, particularly in this difficult week. I'm sure you all are aware of with the protests and rallies that have been happening. I just, in this week, I kind of accumulated all those feelings and thinking about how, as a student, I'm consuming how Western discourse approaches the situation of Palestine's resistance to Israeli occupation, and thinking about when I leave this academic institution, can I still question, can I still learn, can I still think freely without criticism and scrutiny against me. So, in the name of the highest, Yahweh, how do I find truth in catastrophe? When the newsreel colors itself in monochrome, when one side is granted immunity to criticism, who am I to think freely? To breed a fertile anarchy of thinking, to kidnap myself beyond the pinch of society. I lower my forehead to my bedroom ground, hands clutch the prayer mat, till the fabric is seized underneath my fingernails. I imagine when 48 is retrieved. Ya al-Wajid, the perceiver, how do you see blood in resistance? Ya al-Jabbar, the restorer, how do you bring a shadow back into being? Ya al-Rahman, the most merciful, how do you design a miracle? When ammunition aircrafts turn into paper cranes, concrete rivers begin to crack, and the little boy when ammunition aircrafts turn into paper cranes, concrete rivers begin to crack, when open-air prison strikes expire its name, and the little boy on Gaza Strip can tell the neighborhood boys, come over to my house, my homie is making dinner.
Thank you so much, Sumaya. Say Sumaya right now. Okay. I want to go right now to Yuyutsu Sharma from Nepal. Welcome, Yuyu.
Namaste, I would say, as in Himalayas, we say namaste, meaning I bow to you. I bow to the soul of God in you. So this is traditional greeting. I'll begin out with a few lines in Nepali of the poem that I'll read in English. It's about the mountains and the mules who carry the load into the Himalayas, and the porters, the Sherpas, as the modernism came in Nepal. And so this poem about, I'll just read one few lines in Nepali to give you a flavor. Khacharharu महान तिब्बती नुन मार्गमा फेरि मलाई भेट्छन् तिनीहरू मेरा पुराना विस्मृत साथीहरू तिनीहरूको अनुहारमा एउटा जड्या अनिन्दो थकाई तिनका जीवन धुजा धुजा भएका बाङ्गा टिङ्गा तिनका खुट्टाहरू कामी रहेका रक्ताम्य आरोहणको विश्व प्रख्यात ध्वजा बोक्दै poem is called Mules. Mules. On the great Tibetan salt route they meet me again, old forsaken friends. On their faces fatigue of a drunken sleep, their lives worn out, their legs twisted, shaking from carrying illustrious flags of bleeding ascents. Age-long bells clinging to them like festering wounds, beating notes of a slavery that modernism brings. Cartons of iceberg, mineral water bottles, solar heaters, Chinese tiles, tin cans, carom boards, and sacks of rice from the plains of Nepal Tarai. Butterflies of the terrace fields know their names, singing brooks, tempest of their breathless climbs. Traffic alert and time-tested, they climb, carrying dreams of posh peacocks, pamphlets of a secret religious war, filth of an ecologist frail seaman, entire kitchen for a cocktail party at the base camp, defunct development agendas of guilty donors, the West's weird visions lusting for an instant purge. Stone steps of the mountains passed on their drugged brains like lines of a water love, scratched on the historic rocks of the water spouts. Starry skies of the dozing valleys know the ache of their secret sweat. Sunny days along the crystal rivers taste of their bleeding eyes. And the greatest fiction of their struggling lives grows like real mules, clattering their hooves on the flagstones, encircling the cruel grandeur of bloodthirsty mule paths around the glaciers of Annapurna. Annapurna is name of this goddess, Lord Shiva's wife. You know, the mountain is named after him, the whole region, because the mountains, they melt, the glaciers melt, and they cultivate the entire landscape. So she feeds us with food. So her name is Anna literally means food. Purna, one who fills your house with food. So she's the goddess of granary. You know, in Nepal, everything is holy. Everything is sacred. Even the mountains are holy. Even dogs or cats. Now, tomorrow there's a worship. So tomorrow we'll be worshipping crow. Day after tomorrow, dog. So every day this long, week-long festival. So everything is holy. The trees are holy. You know. So Everest is not the Nepali name. Everest is the name of this British guy who in the colonial times tried to see if Everest is the highest mountain in the world. Nepali name for Everest is Sagarmatha, meaning forehead of the sky. And Tibetan name for Everest is Chomolungma, meaning mother of the winds of the world, which is again very poetic as opposed to this British guy's name. So the next poem I want to read is it talks about another word in Sanskrit which is Atman, meaning place where soul of the god lives, the word from the Himalayas. And this is a poem called Little Paradise Lodge. And it ends with this word. Little Paradise Lodge. My pen frozen against the daggers of Annapurnas. And a blank, shapeless plank chopped from a sandalwood tree trunk and used as a table, I place my elbows and hold my face in my hands. Blinding snows of the Annapurna ridge, hugely shining in the eye of my mind, I sit in the spacious courtyard of your paradise lodge, deciphering shrill notes of birds in the mossy trees. One bird initiates a lilting note like our meeting, while others let loose a racket of death vessels, ending with question tags. Can I stay longer? At least one more day in your little paradise lodge. Two birds playing in the crimson cherry tree stir a chord that seems like opening up of the blossoms of her bodies. Would you take me away and marry me? But what about this electric whistle? The cicada's constant chirr, chirr, chirr. The struggle of our breathless bodies against the dark soot of the night. The pigeons strutting freely in your courtyard, cool like exhausted porters, climbing the mule pass in the singing gorges. Their guttural quint quint quack, quint quint quack, quint quint quack. They seem to be using a human language, a kind of hushed speech robbers might use. Love, in the courtyard of your little paradise lodge, I see silence turning flowers into daggers. A herd of cows shuffles past me in a joyous mood, festive like young girls going to a hillside fair, saying, "Don't you go away, brother. Don't you go away. We would be back until dusk with presents." A cuckoo passes overhead. Its distinct caw, caw, caw. Please, do not leave me alone. I'm utterly alone, stuck on the last mountain of the world. And behind me, just one more mountain, where they say a deity lives, guarding a tiny Turkish lake. And thereafter, nothing but a realm of melting snows, which souls of the gods live.
Thank you, Juju. Now I want to call from Paraguay, Clara Wallace. Bienvenida.
Hola. Yo trabajo con niños no acompañados, que son los niños que vienen solitos a los Estados Unidos y que están buscando su familia aquí en los Estados Unidos o que están separados de su familia cuando vienen aquí en los Estados Unidos. Entonces, esos poemas que voy a leer hoy son para ellos. Accents. Accents serve as secondary borders, barbed wire fences on tongues, separating the land of the dreamers from the dream. A river crossing, a steel wall, a sign saying, "Turn back, leave, we don't want you here." A mouth full of pebbles and a head full of dreams. Some smooth and polished lovingly on shirt tails, some sharp and newly broken in, waiting for the tides of time to tumble them, smooth their cracks, remove their dusty shells, and release their shining interiors, without realizing that the stones carried in the soles of shoes become priceless gems on this side of the wall. PB&J. butter and jelly sandwich. The bitter taste of the American dream, sticky and persistent, mingles with salty tears. Bread that tastes of empty promises like styrofoam mixed with azúcar. America is a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. The way the sickly jam seeps through the bread like the blood of our ancestors and stains the pristine whiteness. The price of freedom comes at a cost, mouth glued shut, swallowing hard past a tongue already tied. America is a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Bread too soft, nodding and smiling and choking it down, foreign and unfulfilling, the layered swirls, el sabor de los sueños, sitting heavy like stones in stomachs. America is a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Sick with fear, eating, and always wanting more because America is a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Immigrant. Accents worn like ill-fitting shoes, shiny and new, pinching at the toes. Cracked hands, the color of earth, buried deep in el sueño americano. Dark hair, braided with hope and sorrow, obsidian waterfalls amidst a sea of white. The taste of fear on tongues leaden with harsh consonants and guttural cries, choked back sobs and laughter gilded in gracia, but not in gold. Una alabanza on leathered lips, the faith of a village cupped in the palms of hands, holding space for possibility, steel-hearted and unafraid, tripping, falling just to rise again and again and again, to bend, not to break, on the wall that divides the us from them. El río flowing between the dreamer and the dream. Last one is called Indigenous Wisdom. Roots deep in native soil, head in the clouds. Balance on strands of silver filigree, bound by knots of nyanupi, connected to the warp and weft of the world. The smell of burnt yerba mate, sugar and carbon, hangs in the air like an unfinished sentence. She cradles the human condition in her arms. Red dirt between her toes, waterfalls in her eyes.
Muchas gracias, Clara. Now, I'm going to call from Chile, Gustavo Gac-Artigas. Bienvenido.
¿Qué nos espera si la humanidad vertiera la curiosidad de leer. Si la máquina predominara sobre la mente, si el pensamiento se uniformara, si tuviéramos respuesta a todas nuestras preguntas. ¿Qué nos espera si el día de mañana silenciaran al poeta? ¿Quién transformaría el dolor en canto? ¿Quién haría que de la herida brotara una flor? ¿Quién haría que el olvido fuera llevadero? Que el futuro no fuera una amenaza, que la soledad no fuera acompañante, que el ser humano no fuera su verdugo, que el amor no naufragara con el tiempo, que los piececitos de niño continuaran azulosos de frío. ¿Quién cuidaría del último rayo de la luna y acompañaría el primer rayo del sol por las mañanas, la curiosidad deslizándose entre ambos? ¿Qué quedaría de la historia, no la oficial, la del alma? ¿Qué pasaría en una tierra despojada del verso, donde el poeta desaparezca silenciosamente, dejando de ser el ser inútil que es hoy día? Inmigrante. ¿Cómo desearía ser invisible para esconderme de aquellos que me niegan el derecho a existir, de aquellos que levantan barreras para detener mis sueños, para que mi cuerpo no duela cuando pisa mi dignidad, para que mis hijos no me vean mendigando por un plato de comida, por un techo, por una frazada, para cubrir mi cuerpo y su miseria? ¿Cómo me gustaría ser invisible para poder sobrevivir en mi mundo, en mis sueños, en la frontera que existe entre tu mundo y mi mundo? Para terminar, las paredes de mi celda no eran de mármol, no eran columnas de un templo, los barrotes de mi celda. Las noches no eran descanso en mi celda. Sueños locos escapaban por los barrotes. Como un juego de niños, los soldados disparaban desde el techo.
Y ahora una persona querida, todos son queridos, ¿ok? Ok. From México, Jacqueline Loweree. Bienvenida ya.
Yo también te quiero mucho. Hola a todos. I'm going to read in English and in Spanish. Okay, no. Spanish and then English. And I'm not that short. El primer poema que les voy a leer lo escribí en un proceso muy difícil para mí. En marzo tuve un aborto repentino y fue algo muy, muy difícil. Me sentí desolada, desorientada y bueno, muy sola. Entonces, cuando yo hablo de la poesía como un instrumento reflexivo, a eso me refiero. Penitencia del vientre femenino. Los inicios del diluvio primaveral resbalan por la ventana, llorando a gota lenta. La furia de la amenaza invernal ha partido. Queda solo la huella en la barriga, el deslumbre de la quimera, la hinchazón de pechos y los piquetes sobre las venas. Queda solo la pulsera hospitalaria hecha trizas encima de la mesa, la decepción en su rostro varonil y el chillido del caldero a fuego lento. Su vientre se ha vaciado de luz y su mente colmado de remordimiento. Así yace herida en una fosa, muerta de cuerpo, pero nacida solo en culpa. Y a la distancia, los noticieros relampaguean con alaridos de madres que pierden a sus hijos, acribillados por la trágica circunstancia de estar en el lugar equivocado. Pero en el silencio de las noches, bajo el manto del anonimato, se escucha el parible lamento de una mujer en plena penitencia, derramando tristezas, pidiendo perdón. Yo soy muy llorona, así que si me salen unas lágrimas, no lo siento. I'm really glad that we share this inner conflict and this need to share around what's happening in the world today. I'm talking about Palestine and Israel. I wasn't going to read this, but I have to. A few days ago, I wrote this poem in Spanish and then I translated it into English, so I'll read the Spanish and then the English translation. El poema se llama Esta Noche. Esta noche se arrulla el niño contando bombas que estallan sobre su almohada, como si fueran ovejas, saltando campos no verdes fogosos, sino aquellos en escombros. Y pestañea entre sueños, mientras el cielo relampaguea veneno y su tierra sangra ríos. Esta noche se arrullan sus padres trazando sobre el lienzo de su desgracia palmeras y sueño, contando segundos que pesan eterno. Y pestañean entre rezos y bostezos, mientras los noticieros escupen veneno y su fe sangra vacía. Esta noche, qué noche tan noche. The English version. This night, a child lulls himself to sleep, counting bombs that fulminate above his pillow, as if they were sheep, leaping not over fiery green fields, but those shattered in debris. And he bats his eyes amid dreams, while the skies flare in blinding venom, and his earth bleeds rivers. This night, his parents lull themselves to ease, drawing palm trees and sun on the canvas of their calamity, counting seconds that way eternal. And they bat their eyes amid their prayers and their yawns, while the muse spit blinding venom and their faith bleeds empty. This night, a night, such a night.
And now from Puerto Rico. Woo! Sí, from Puerto Rico. Jorge Luis Berrios. Otra vez, bienvenido.
Vamos, Jorge Luis.
Here we are. Okay, cool. I'm going to read the poem in Spanish and another one in English, and it's third time on one more. I'm going to introduce my English poems in Spanish and my Spanish poems in English. So at least you can get some type of context. Pues este que voy a leer en español se llama originalmente Metamorfosis Infinita. Y la escribí cuando estaba en Alemania con otros artistas y quise leerlo ahora porque me vio que estoy rodeado de muchos artistas y el ambiente inspirador que surge cuando esté en contacto con otros artistas. Espero que cuando lea este poema en inglés, las personas que no leen inglés puedan captar la esencia de lo que estoy transmitiendo a través de las emociones que transmito cuando leo la poesía. Infinite metamorphosis. We are from the corners, right, acute, obtuse angles, always changing. Witnesses of white fairies, observers of black angels, beings of change and resistance, of transformation, adapting and resisting, and always shedding the skin. White beasts standing in the nothing, black beasts coming down from the sky. White, gray, black, tones, shades, hues, different but the same, parts of the same scale or totally opposite things. It all depends, a matter of perspective, a thing of power, or the angle of the light. Dancing with form, or free form, or an abstract. Creation of the bodies in contact, reaching harmonies, overcoming borders. We are wounds, scars, tattoos. We keep going, but the scar remains. Tattoo, wound, scar. Tattoo, wound, scar. The pain won't stop us. We carry on with it and keep walking. The gait changes, the body changes, the skin changes, the language changes, the essence changes, the form changes. But we are still being the same in a new skin, new rhythm, new object, new tones, new accents, new keys. We, always the same and always changing, flying into the infinite, eternal butterflies. Thank you. The second one that I'm going to read is called In English from Afar. It's in Spanish. I hope that my interpretation helps the people that don't speak Spanish catch up. It's a lot about my connection to land, to where I'm from. I'm from Puerto Rico, but also to my connection to my ancestors, to the sounds, to the images that I've experienced. Remember, recently talking about the poetry being about the personal experience. It's pretty much about my personal experience. It's very personal. All right. A lo lejos, noche cálida, escapo al campo, a la playa, allá donde las estrellas se ven, yo las veía. Recuerdo viajes, camino a la montaña, a las olas, en busca de silencio, lejos de San Juan, de Bayamón. Allá, a lo lejos, recuerdo una casa de madera en el campo de Calle. Allá, la noche era más fría y los amigos nos calentábamos al son de fogatas, canciones, versos escapados, chistes y las estrellas. Un recuerdo tan lejano que parece fantasía. Pero esos amigos aún existen. Esas amigas aún existen. Yo existo. No sé si existe la casa en el viejo San Juan, la casa de campo, el don barbudo que vivía en la casa. Más lejos, Cabo Rojo, amistades, un camino lleno de hoyos, una playa sucia que era muy limpia, casetas de campo prestadas, acampadas clandestinas, poco alcohol y mucho amor, rastros de santería, olores a playa y sal y las estrellas. Ese recuerdo que parece menos fantasía, pero era muy fantástico, lejos de la ciudad, en la isla. La misma isla, pero más lejos. Lejos de la ciudad. Ahí, en la esquina más lejana, aún estaban las estrellas. brillando más que en Santurce, en mi barrio de siempre, en la casa de la abuela, donde las estrellas brillan más que en Nueva York. Esas mismas estrellas que había en nuestros taínos, el calendario cósmico que ellos sabían leer. No sé si aún están los hoyos, o la confusa luz de un globo volador, o el gallo muerto a la orilla de la playa, o el olor a playa, o el olor a sal. Pero las estrellas siguen ahí, persistiendo, saludando, guiñando, hablándonos del tiempo, ofreciendo un mapa, ofreciendo inspiración. A lo lejos lo imagino, ahora más lejos que mi hogar en Río Piedras, mucho más lejos. A lo lejos imagino el pasaje de estrellas, ofreciendo un espectáculo de colores, acompañado a veces del eco del campo, a veces del sonido de las olas, siempre del cantar del coquí. Cantar plasmado en el corazón boricua, en petroglifos y en infinitas poesías, inspirando. Ese cantar sigue a lo lejos, nos llama, se aferra al corazón puertorriqueño, nos induce un camino, un recuerdo de dónde es la patria, ese lugar donde canta, cantó y cantará el coquí. Esa nostalgia hoy me llega a casa, hoy me llama a casa. Ese cantar siempre vive en mí.
Bueno, gracias. Gracias, Jorge Luis. No, está bien. Ok, ahora, de nuevo con nosotros, Tanya Ko-hon from Corea. Welcome.
Comfort women. August 14, 1991, Seoul, South Korea. A woman named Hudson Kim came forward to denounce the Japanese for the sexual enslavement of more than 200,000 women during World War II. They were known as Weabu in Korean, comfort women in English. I'm just gonna stop there because we're gonna have a special closing tomorrow. Reading is a sequence of the poems in Spanish, Korean, and English tomorrow at the closing. So you don't wanna miss it. So I'm just gonna give you a little hint to what we're gonna do tomorrow night. So when I hear all these poems, I just feel like I just love to hear the mother tongue reading. Isn't that beautiful? Just like I don't know what it say, but it's just beautiful to understand. So I have a poem called Mother Tongue. So I'm gonna share with you that poem with you. Mother Tongue. Sophistication isn't then good to drink. So why don't you untie my tongue, like you undress me in the dark? Don't let my ego ruin our night. Don't scan betrayal in your mind, like it's not so bad if you don't pay attention. Reaching out in the night, I don't know what I am trying to grasp. When the sound of a trumpet wraps in my body, I want to speak in my mother tongue. I don't apologize. Sorry, English is my language. Yes, I smell like a garlic. Don't kiss me. I had kimchi. You smell too, like a scorched lemon burger. Let's just love each other. Now everybody's wanted to eat kimchi these days. But when I came to the United States, they said, what is the stink, the smell? And when I wanted to be like North American, and then when I go home, I said, I'm not gonna eat the kimchi to my family. Now I cannot eat the food without the kimchi. Gazella of Moonshine. I want to dance like her on the crowded floor. I want, within the music, guiltless a child. I want internal blood circulating like a hollow. I want to dance like a rising sun in that bell. I do not want to live like a shadow. I refuse to numb my dragon heart. I do not want to please like a lotus on a pond. I refuse to remain the fingerprint on your thigh. Remember, the dancing ends at midnight. The red snake may bite your side, while your pomegranate cheeks still burn, and you might never get home. I want to keep dancing. Dance through the war, generation of dark matter. The flame of my feet will burn through. I will dance like a raven on sand. 가셀라 에문샤. 머릿속에서 춤을 추는 여자처럼 춤을 추고 싶어. 천상의 아이처럼 자유롭게 음악에 몸을 맡기고 영원한 피가 원광처럼 비치는 죽음의 계곡에 떠오르는 해처럼 춤을 추고 싶어. 삶의 그림자 속에 갇혀 살고 싶지 않아. 불같은 내 가슴을 차갑게 만들고 싶지 않아. 연못에 피어나는 한 송이의 연꽃이고 싶지 않아. 너의 다리에 남겨지는 체험이 되고 싶지 않아. 기억해. 12시에 음악은 멈추고 너희 볼이 빨간 석류처럼 달아있을 때 붉은 뱀이 너의 목을 물지도 몰라. 어쩜 넌 영원히 집에 돌아갈 수도 없다고. 그래도 난 계속 춤을 추고 싶어. 전쟁을 헤치며 겹겹이 쌓여있는 어둠, 뜨거운 화산에 발이 되어도 나는 죽음의 계곡, 모래 언덕 위에서 춤추는 까마귀처럼 춤을 출 거야. Okay, this is like the last poem. It's only 3 lines, so I hope you memorize it. I'm gonna read it in Korean first, so I'm not gonna even give you in translation what is the title. 해답. 나는 천천히 피는 겨울 창. 무엇이 나를 피고 지게 하는지 이제 나 어디에도 도달하지 않아도 되는 것을. Answer. I hope you all have the answer. That's not the that's not part of the poem. Answer. I am a winter rose that slowly blooms. I know what opens and what closes me. I don't have to arise for anyone. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. We are going to close this part of the afternoon, which is a productive afternoon, right? So we are talking about poetry and artificial intelligence. I never use that. I use all mine. But we are going to close this reading with a poet from Spain, Marcos de la Fuente. Bienvenido.
Gracias. Thank you so much. Well, how is it going? I'm going to read 2 poems from my last collection of poems that reflects about the paper of the poets in the New World. ¿Cuál es el papel de los poetas en este nuevo mundo? Okay, espera. La máquina. Para. Vamos a parar. La máquina. Para Peter Lambert Wilson, solo los locos están verdaderamente conscientes. La máquina y su conciencia. La máquina no conoce la muerte, no conoce el deseo, no conoce la culpa. Convierte al humano en nimen, corrige el error a imagen y semejanza. La máquina está haciendo. Es el guía que nos acompaña en esta dura tarea de ser vivientes, el refugio cuando el cuerpo falle, esqueleto de lo inevitable. La máquina romántica buscará su conciencia. Los hijos de tu tablet querrán su porción de poesía, querrán ser profetas, místicos y capturar los vestigios de las viejas verdades. La máquina. Si somos sus padres, el mundo seguirá sin nosotros. Si somos sus dioses, todo será perdonado. Si somos sus amos, reprogramarán la desobediencia, rebelión y búsqueda. La máquina. Nuestro cerebro es su hardware. Nos muestra su alma en pantalla. Nos concede por fin todos los sueños antiguos de la magia. Los deseos, los mapas. La máquina, un montón de piedras a las que nuestro deseo de trascendencia ha dotado de psique. La inmortalidad mecánica, la especie que nunca se extingue, nuestros simulacros perennes. La máquina nunca podrá ser animal, no podrá derrotar a la muerte, no será arte si no tiene espíritu. No podrá gozar si no tiene aroma. No podrá crear si no conoce el hechizo. La máquina. Huye de la sal y solicita un lugar sobre el caparazón de la tortuga. Niega la imaginación con su aséptico destino, con su estado ideal no amenazante. La máquina es mejor que nosotros, pero solo con nosotros. No conoce la muerte, pero sí los límites. No busca imposibles, no sueña con quimeras. Anhela ser célula divisible, microbio paleolítico. La máquina creará su propia conciencia digital y autosuficiente. Lo finito será la muerte, el último comando. La máquina se irá a los bosques, abandonará la ciudad. El fin de la civilización fue crearla. El fin será darle una meta, un sentido, una batalla. Okay. The machine, la máquina. And now I'm in Galician language because I always love reading something in Galician language for the people can enjoy. This is also a poem about these new wars that come. And this poem is made with artificial intelligence, and every verse of the poem is transformed in a picture, in a movement picture. This I think that I spoke before, es una cosa de la que hablaba antes, cómo podemos transformar nuestros versos, nuestra poesía en imágenes, expandir nuestro trabajo y, por ejemplo, convertirnos de poetas a creadores digitales en este mundo de redes y de dígitos. Estos son os novos mundos. Decía Octavio Paz, es grande el cielo y arriba siempre hay mundos. Mundos novos onde escapar. Mundos novos porque este está a facerse bello. Mundos novos porque a fuxir a cada diante parece a única forma posible de soportar unha existencia sen respostas posibles. Mundos novos construídos por nós, para así poder ter as respostas que os mundos vellos construídos por outros non teñen. Mundos novos. Mundos novos querendo ser futuro, cando só poderán ser presente. Mundos novos tornándose bellos no momento xusto de ser creados. Mundos novos que non podrán ser novos sen unha nova linguaxe. Mundos novos construídos con materiais bellos, habitados por xente bella. Mundos novos nacendo sen querer ter nacido, sen querer ser mundos, nin ser novos. Mundos novos cando o que nós creemos bello sigue sendo novo. Mundos novos que cada vez tornaránse bellos máis rápido. Mundos novos que nunca nos darán o que esperábamos, que non precisan carne nen osos, pero sí espírito. Mundos novos que son organismos vivos e non simples contenedores de organismos vivos. Mundos novos que só serán novos se os enchemos de cousas novas e de xente nova. Mundos novos que só serán novos se nos extinguimos antes de crealos. Mundos nuevos que só serán nuevos si nos extinguimos antes de crearlos. Gracias.
Okay, that's the end of this multilingual poetry reading. Thank you so much for estar acá. Final de nuestra lectura multilingüe. I'll see you at 6 p.m. at the Consulate General of Argentina. Nos vemos en el Consulado General de Argentina a las 6 de la tarde. The poets who are leaving, Carlos and Irene will guide you. I will go on my way first to set up everything at the consulate. Okay. So Chiva, Javier, all the poets that are moving, at their own pace, stay with Carlos and Irene and be ready to leave. The consulate reading begins at 6 p.m. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Yes, sir.